Oseo.
Oseo.
Cherokee greeting. Waves a great feather for the good of it. And the Yaqui greeting is Dios engineer. Means God be with you. And today is Domingo de Ramos. That is the Palm Sunday. And I kind of start with that. The Pueblo of Guadalupe over in Arizona, well, Claudia and I have been a part of that place for many generations, I guess. We've been padrinos there, and of the Alvarez family, and maybe Comadre Anita is thinking of us right now, and Junior Leno's son might be thinking of us right now, and we're thinking of them right now. Now today, there in the ceremony is when the deer, the maso, makes his first appearance. And at times I've been there, Leno, Comadre's son there, he is the maso, the deer. And he's going to be there in front of the temple at Diopo. And he's going to kind of make prancing steps back and forth there because he's, guarding and announcing, that he and the people of the Diopo, the flower people, are ready to defend themselves against the marching of the, we'll call them the Roman soldiers. They're going to begin their assaults, against that. But in the course of it, these soldiers will be transformed into warriors of the Virgin of Guadalupe. So that starts, the Santo Semana, the Holy Week. And with that, I'm having a herald for that, and that herald is the Scarlet Macaw. And here, this is, the Macaw is wearing a cardinal's mask here, but he's very red here, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. So my theme is going to be that. It's the Scarlet Macaw and the Eastertide here. In southern Mexico, like the Mayan world there, you see very much evidence of the Macaw in everything, in the ruins, the sculptures, and so forth. Now these Mayan cities that they had collapsed, hundreds of years before the Spanish came there, but still the people there have still continued. They have their culture and so forth still continues. The Spanish friars, when they came, they were really, really hot on converting natives like that and promulgating, their version of the resurrection. But in that part of Mexico, the resurrection was really a very old hat. And the reference for that, for me, I'm just making references here. Here you can see this one here I've made. This is First Father. And he's all about the resurrection. And I'm just giving a sketches here. And that up here, this is what you would call the belt of Orion, astronomy, and the 3 stars. In the Mayan, this is the turtle Ekak, just really turtle star like that. And out of the back, the carpus of the turtle will burst forth First Father. He's also first tree, Yashe. And he's also later becomes the corn, the maize, like that. So all that, stands for that. And here, this is the jaguar's mouth. The jaguar's mouth is part of the Milky Way. The Milky Way has this big bulge in it. And in that bulge, there's a dark rift. It's called the dark rift. It's called, the great cleft. And here in this world, it's the portal. It's the portal to the other world. And that this is going to be the resurrection of it. And here, this is happening at the winter solstice. I should say, First Father is born on the winter solstice. And of course, the Christian theme with the Nativity, now December 25th, up until the 18th century, it was also at the winter solstice. So the similarity, if not the exact correlation of themes to the Mediterranean. and go over here to the palm that I have here, since this is Palm Sunday and everybody knows the story about, you know, the Hosanna and what's going on there. Here, but I have this here, east of here, in the Anza Borrego Desert, the indigenous people, the Americans called Coyote, the easy name, the Motowitam, the first people, they have stemmed from Egypt, Libyan. They've been out here for 8,000 years. But referring to another meaning for the palm, the fan palm, Macaw is the creator out here. And he created beings and people and things. They call it Nukatam. And most of the Nukatam have kind of blended into other things and are kind of distant symbols. But one of them was the palm. The palm was one of the first things that he had created and continues to this day. And so even out here in Borrego Springs, the scientist who studied the fossils, the first fossil that they became interested in was actually the fossil of this palm. Fan palm is what they call it, muela in Korea. And they found that it's 4 million years old. So that gives us a clue here of a relationship to this kind of genesis of the palm and how we might reckon it in the palm celebration today for all of that. And also with this theme of the Yaquis that we have spent so much time with in the ceremony, up here, this is like a flower from the tiopo, you know, across the front of the tiopo. They'll string, you know, paper flowers, and it's pretty customary for people like ourselves to take them home and kind of have that remembrance there for them. So that's kind of a Yaqui feeling that we have there. And I come down here. Now, all the time I was in Mexico, I was a student of the graduate status as I was doing a project on Mexican art history. And so I had a sketchbook, a drawing book I took everywhere with me. And into the museums, I did lots and lots of drawings. And went to the National Anthropology Museum. I had a room there in San Juan de la Trans, and would walk up to the museum and do drawings in there. So I don't exactly remember where I got this from. But this is the Macaw. This is actually called 7 Macaw, or Itsamye. And the 7 is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's the Big Dipper. That's why the 7, Macaw 7. So he's figured also as the Big Dipper. And the whole thing, I'm not going to go into it, but as you know, the procession and things changed, he was first, you know, thought to be the pole star or the sun, and eventually that changed, and so he had to kind of decline from that. So that's very interesting. But here, this that serves as his eye is actually the portal. It is the portal in the, we call it the dark rip of the Milky Way. And it has various other names, you know, it's the birth canal and so forth. One of the things that it has in there has to do with the myth of first father. He is killed by the lords of the underworld, the Shibabo, like that, and they cut his head off and they put his head in the crook of the calabash tree. And that is what this crook is. The crook here on this shield is a cue to what this is. This is the portal to the other world. That's what's going on here. And this has continued to be very much in the the native part of the culture, like this cane. And even in one of the Aztec codices, there's a picture of Quetzalcoatl dancing on a pyramid, on top of a pyramid, holding a cane out, just like this. And also out here in the desert people, this is also the sign of the pool, or the shaman. So it has continued to have a resonance, I call cultural resonance like that. And another thing, if you go way down here to the bottom, and you will see a jicama. A jicama is, I don't know if you call it a vegetable, like that. So what happened earlier today, I was in the Mexican market, I think it's called La Vida, or something like that, and there was a big bin of these jicama. And when I looked at them, it occurred to me, in my time on the Mayan consciousness, basically I'm trying to say, there was a language called the language of Soya. And this is a kind of, I would call it an inverse language. And why I'm mentioning it here, I've been talking about Chichen Itza. Chichen Itza really means the Itza at the well, the cenote here. And in the language of Zuya, like that, this kind of reverse language, that the sage or the shaman, he will say, "Bring to me the plug of the sacred cenote." And I answer him with the jicama. The jicama is the plug of the sacred cenote. In fact, a little while ago today, next door to us, lives a wonderful Colombian guy, and next door to him, this other guy, he's doing some rebuilding, and so there's a lot of pounding. And so I then said, how are you getting along with that pounding over there? I said, it's a great heartbeat. That's the language of Zuya. It's a way of bringing out the root of truth. Panchete is what it was called. And here, this is my Macaw, standing in here. So this is just to give you an idea of a culture that's still, in spite of everything, I like this one line from Castaneda's Don Juan, when Don Juan, he's the forest teacher, and he's saying something to Mr. Castaneda, Carlos, who's a Latino. He's saying, "Why, I thought that the Spaniards left no stone unturned." And Don Juan says, "The Spaniards only turned over the stones in their own tonal." And he's saying that because he himself, Don Juan, is evidently, because that's what these teachings are part of a tradition that is going on certainly underneath those stones in Mexico. And I have a piece here to read on this theme. This is a kind of it's a sketch drama. It's like a skit. And this is from the Aztec. The Aztec, again, is a name given to them, but their name is Mexica. That's where this is from. Friends of the feather and others have gathered to give pleasure to the Lord of all. Ta-da! Then Akli, the scarlet Macaw, enters, one who winks broadly. "Hello, me lord, I have come laughing. I am Redface. My flower song weaves and spreads. Oh, by the way, where is the head of the house? I come from yonder, where those palms grow. You'll always find a trumpet to welcome you there. There, the water moss shines like the sun." Now a second character enters, the precious pheasant, who is the symbol of the sun. "Oh, my lord and feathered friends, up in your folded flowers, your sheaths of festive songs. Ah, the flowering tree is upright, stands erect, and scatters flowers. In the midst of rain art thou heard? Ah, there in its branches goes the precious pheasant, flying and making song." Then Akli the Macaw returns to the scene. "Here I come, singing again. I am Redface, the splendid Macaw, and my song is loud. And so I shall include it in a painting here in the flowering patio." "Aha! What now? Oh, it's tickling me. Why, it's the gilded butterfly, who's sucking my heart, which is like a flower in bloom. Oh, my friends, I'm shaking down the sweet-scented flowers. I am shaking the singer's flower. And I come from yonder, in Tlaocan, land of water and mist. I am a scarlet macaw, and I come flying from the place of divine birth, where flowers equal songs, and songs equal hearts offered to the Lord of all. And so this flowered, feathered skit ends with these following lines. Song thief, my heart, how shall you capture them? So you suffer. See, it's like a painting. Take the black ink and lay in the red. Perhaps by the time you have done your task, you will no longer suffer pain. And that means if knowledge is fixed as a painting in your heart, a painter's skill will banish anxiety and help answer the questions troubling the heart. So says aptly the Scarlet Macaw.